of a musical family. Her sister was also a singer and teacher, and her cousin Evelyn gave up a career as pianist to marry Patrick Hayes, the genial and successful concert manager in Washington, D.C. One cousin was dean of music at the University of Kansas, and another held a corresponding post at the University of Southern California. As a girl, Gladys Swarthout went to Chicago to study, and in no time at all was offered a contract with the Chicago Opera, which brings us to the garden story. Miss Swarthout?
Well, Francis, I was singing Mercedes to Miss Garden's Carmen, and quite content with my lot, I might add. One night after a performance, I heard Garden's voice roaring across the stage.
I remember it could be quite a roar.
Right. Swarthout, she was calling. Where is Swarthout? Well, I was in a panic for fear I'd done something to displease her. I approached her dressing room in fear and trembling. She took off the great shawl she wore in the last act of Carmen and cut it in two. "One half for me," she said, "and the other half for you."
Now, that's not all you told me she said.
No, that wasn't all.
Well, in case modesty's getting the better of Gladys, let me finish the story.
Fine, go ahead.
Miss Garden said, "My dear, you'll be our next great Carmen."
And allow me to add, that's exactly what happened. That's the real finish of the story. Gladys Swarthout was the Carmen of her time, and she sang the part in the first production of any opera ever staged exclusively for television. As I recall it, yours was a Carmen that indulged in less footwork than we sometimes see. A more languid gypsy, perhaps. And I remember you made her up quite a bit darker, didn't you?
Yes, I did, Francis. I got that from the original, because in his story, Mérimée describes Carmen as having skin the color of old leather.
Shall we tell our listeners who conducts your record of the habanera?
I think we should, by all means. It's Eric Leinsdorf, who left the Metropolitan to become conductor of the Boston Symphony.
And while we're listing the credits, how about a word for the chorus master, Robert Shaw?
Altogether, an authentic recreation of a great aria from one of the three most popular operas of all time. Miss Swarthout, was Carmen your only contact with Mary Garden?
Oh, no. I was one of those little maids in Thais with her. We used to bring her flowers and things, you know. She never let us come too close to her. She was short and wanted no comparisons, but she had some secret magic whereby she could make herself look tall on the stage. She had long arms and knew the value of the sweeping gesture, and she taught it to us.
What was some of her other advice?
Well, one piece I never forgot. She practically ordered me to attend every performance, every rehearsal, whether I was involved or not. "You will always learn something," she said. And she would add in that positive way of hers, "even if it's only what not to do."
And I recall another thing she said, which I think no artist should lose sight of. Remember, she said, there's always someone in every audience who's made a sacrifice to come and hear you.
I think that's something for anyone connected with the theater to remember. Gladys' debut at the Metropolitan was as the old blind mother in Gioconda. An odd beginning for such a glamorous and beautiful girl, and one who was to take her place on the list of 10 best-dressed women and stay there.
And for a while, of course, they dressed her up in boys' clothes.
The inevitable fate of the mezzo. I remember Miss Swarthout as Fyodor, the little Tsarevich, to Shaliapin's Boris.
And there was Cybele in Faust.
And of all those parts, the one I liked best was Stefano, the page in Romeo and Juliet. Perhaps because Edward Johnson was Romeo and Lucrezia Borri was Juliet.
Come now, Stefano has a lovely aria, and you did it superbly, as we're about to hear from this record. Beginning of the program, we spoke about Mary Garden. Gladys, who are some of the other great artists you recall as having left their mark on your career?
Well, I sang Malika in Lakme with Lily Pons, and I followed Marian Telva's Adelgisa and Norma with Rosa Poncel. How I wish we'd recorded those duets with Lily and Rosa. And John McCormick, while never a colleague, is one I remember most warmly.
How'd you come to know him?
Well, we knew him during the time we were out in Hollywood.
He was making a picture, too, I believe, at the time.
Yes, and we had many wonderful hours with him and his darling wife, Lily, who's still our friend.
I believe you told me he suggested some of your songs.
Yes, he gave me many lovely songs, Irish songs. My Leg in Love, and, of course, the Kerry Dance, and, many others.
Frank, would you like to decide which it shall be now?
Since My Leg in Love's less familiar, let's hear that.
Fine. That'll give us a chance to hear Gladys's lovely low voice, which to a mezzo is what the high C is to a soprano, isn't it?
Is in her
On the subject of great influences, I think the proudest moment of Gladys' entire career was when she was chosen to sing Juliet in the Berlioz Romeo and Juliet. Not Gounod's, but the Berlioz Romeo and Juliet with Maestro Toscanini and the NBC Symphony. A few days before the broadcast, Gladys fell and smashed her kneecap and had to sing the performance in a cast and in no little pain. She was operated on the next day.
I remember. It was the feat of a real trooper. Frank, I know you studied singing in Italy with Mario Ancona and sang an opera over there. Did you and Gladys ever appear together?
Never an opera, but we did a lot of joint recitals and radio shows, things of that kind.
And I'm proud to have been on the list a few years ago when you set out this holiday greeting. Let me play a bit of it.
Du liegst mir im Herzen, du liegst mir im Sinn, du machst mir Schmerzen, weiß ich, wie gut ich dir bin. Ja, weiß ich, wie gut ich dir bin.
Gladys, since you're one of those rare artists equally at home in the concert hall as in the opera house, tell us something about your career as a recitalist.
Well, Francis, it's a satisfaction to have been able to introduce a good deal of new music and get away from the stereotyped and hackneyed material that I think people get fed up with. You know, there's a feeling, and particularly around New York, that audiences across the country want only the pot boilers and insist on them. I really don't think this is true.
For instance?
Well, I programmed songs by Poulenc before anybody else was doing them, and I remember an enchanting lullaby by a Brazilian composer, Mignone. He gave it to me, and I learned it with him, even sang it in Portuguese. And the audiences loved these songs.
Gladys was also the first to sing the songs of the Auvergne with orchestra in this country. As you well know, Francis, they are wonderful. The strange music of a pastoral people who live near the earth and love it.
Indeed they are. Shall we hear one of them?
Let's choose the first, the Bailero. Canteloube, the discoverer and arranger of these songs, heard this one in the mountains of the Auvergne in southern France just at twilight on a summer evening. A young shepherdess sings a plaintive melody across the valley, and far away on the opposite hill, a shepherd boy echoes her song.
I don't want to finish without a word about popular music, the music of Broadway. I think that's one thing I can brag a little bit about, Francis. I never neglected the great composers of our own American lyric theater, like Dick Rodgers and Jerome Kern and Vincent Heumanns and Cole Porter.
You never did. Eva Gautier once shocked the daylights out of everybody by programming Carolina in the Morning at a Carnegie Hall recital.
Well, I never went as far as that, but I made albums of current hits and, of course, sang them often on my broadcasts.
I think You're Everywhere by Vincent Heumanns is a good example of this type song, which you made so emphatically your own. And here it is.
I
Since we've been talking about radio, and since we are on radio, I think an appropriate way to say goodbye this afternoon is with Bless This House.
That's another song John McCormick gave me, and it came to be almost my trademark. I used it to close hundreds of broadcasts. I still love it, and perhaps more than any other, I think it's my song.
Bless these winds